A fantastic view of downtown Detroit, the Renaissance Center, the highlight of that picture. It's the Toronto Blue Jays and Detroit Tigers in Game 2 of a twin billing from Comerica Park. Hello everyone, filling in for Buck Martinez once again. Sam Cosentino alongside Pat Tabler. And Pat, in Game 2 of the series last night, the Toronto Blue Jays reverted back to small ball. We haven't seen a lot of that. Ended up winning the game 3-2, but enough of that small ball stuff. Here in Game 1, the Blue Jays go back to the power game.
They were scoreless in the 6th inning after an infield single by Encarnacion. Jose Molina tried to bunt him over. Forget that. He then says, I am going deep, which he does, into the bullpen of the Blue Jays, about 385 feet from home plate, flexing his muscle. And then after a 20-game absence of hitting a home run, Vernon Wells hits number 20 an inning later after the Tigers had tied it up. But the big one came from Lyle Overbay. Jose Valverde had given up just one home run all season long. Overbay homers into the bullpen for the game winner.
Rewarded for his efforts, Lyle Overbay will hit 4th. Vernon Wells out of the lineup. The Toronto Blue Jays have played good defense all season long, but Edwin Encarnacion, his ride on the defensive side of the game, well, it's been up and down, but on this road trip, he's been great.
He made one error in the first game on this 10-game road trip, but then he's been spectacular. In Kansas City, he was all over the place, diving for balls, getting down, staying down. He's got very soft hands for a big man, and he's got good reactions at third base. Made a play in game number 1 right here that really helped Brett Cecil. Throws accurately on the run. He has played a great third base. Chip in with 12 hits, 6 extra base hits. Encarnacion's doing it all.
Hey, welcome back, Freddie. Fred Lewis back in the lineup for the first time since Wednesday, playing on that wonky right angle. He'll give it a test drive next against the Tigers. Couple of lineup changes for you here in Game 2. Lewis back in the lineup hitting leadoff. Escobar, Bautista, and Overbay. Buck, Lind, and Encarnacion riding an 8-game hit streak. Wise and McDonald rounded out. Jeremy Bonderman gets the start for the Tigers here in Game 2. We expected to see him in game number 1, but with the good day numbers that Galarraga has, he was switched out with Bonderman.
That happened right after batting practice yesterday. Jim Leyland deciding to mix up his starting rotation for the doubleheader. Jeremy Bonderman in his 8th season with the Detroit Tigers. This will be his 18th start of the year.
Fred Lewis, chop shot, just foul. A foul ball can be a dangerous thing if you're a fan. Goes to make a play. Oh, sorry about your luck.
Don't worry, you're in the sun. It'll dry. It'll dry quick. You'll be fine.
Another foul back by Fred Lewis. We talked to Freddie a couple of days ago, and he was anxious to get back into the lineup, spending some time with his son and doing everything possible.
He has worked so hard to get back in the lineup. He twisted his ankle on a base on Wednesday in Kansas City and just missed a couple of days.
Strikeout for Bonderman to start this game.
He's always had a very good breaking ball that he has used for strikeouts. Here are the numbers on Bonderman. 3-3. Well, he's 5-6 with an ERA of just under 5. This is a player who a few years ago you could count on for 200 innings and 30 starts all the time. But he has had some shoulder problems. He has missed some time. In 2008, he made just 12 starts. Last year, just 1 start for the Tigers. Working his way back from some injury problems. I think a lot of it had to do with him throwing so many innings as a 20-year-old for the Tigers.
We go back to this guy's draft year. I mean, he was drafted as a junior out of high school, was Bonderman, as Escobar. There's the count even on him. Escobar, a couple of hits in game number 1 to extend his hit streak. Now a 7-gamer. Brought great energy to this Jays lineup, the ability to bunt, keeping the defense on its heels at all times. Can be a stolen base threat as well. 5 stolen bases while with the Braves. Has yet to attempt one here with the Blue Jays. Breaking ball from Bonderman misses to even the count at 2-2. Working quickly now is Bonderman. Get on the ground. Diving is Kelly from his knees. The throw, and he will not be able to get Escobar.
Even if he comes up, I think, with a good throw, he is not going to get Escobar. He smells base hit whenever he gets the ball on the ground like this. Kelly gives ground. And you can see Escobar is going to beat it very easily. That'll go as an infield single. First hit of the ball game for the Blue Jays.
So he extends that streak to 8 games in short order here in the top of the first. That brings Jose Bautista to the plate. Inside, Bonderman goes on Bautista. Hit a double in the 4th inning of game 1. Now has 49 extra base hits. 3 for 11 in the series with a couple of doubles. Escobar extends his lead over at first. Bonderman with a look. Popped up to the left side. The left fielder is Johnny Damon battling the sun, but he comes down with it.
As Damon holds that in, let's take a look at the scouting report for Jeremy Bonderman. From power to pitcher, when he first came up, it was all power. Power slider, power sinker. Now with the arm problems, he's had to become a pitcher. And I think that has helped him. He will drop in a curveball with very tight spin. We saw that with the strikeout on Fred Lewis. He is going to now use a cutter along with his changeup. So he really has become a pitcher instead of a thrower. Something he was when he first came up at such a young age for the Tigers back in 2003. He's still just 27 years old. Already he has pitched in the big leagues again since 2003. He's had 7 years of major league service.
That's saying something when you're just 27 years of age. And had a chat with Bonderman a couple of days ago. And you mentioned it, Pat. You know, when you have hard stuff as a young guy, you can make some mistakes and still miss. Well, he can't afford to make those same mistakes these days. Just doesn't have the velocity, or doesn't have quite the movement that he used to.
I think it'll take some time for him to reach back and find that speed that we saw from him. He spent a couple of duties on the disabled list last year as he rehabilitated from a shoulder surgery. Thoracic outlet compression syndrome surgery.
Say that twice.
Okay,
quickly.
I will.
Cabrera holding Escobar on at first. Lyle Overbay making his first start in the 4-hole all season long. But over his career, he's had some success hitting fourth. 125 games all told, 120 of them starts. 16 home runs, driven in more than 60 runs over the life of his career when hitting fourth.
That was just a huge home run that he hit in today's first game against probably the hottest closer in the American League, and Jose Valverde, with great stuff. The ability to strike out batters with fastballs and a splitter. Overbay said he was just looking for something that was up in the strike zone. Sure, he wasn't thinking about a home run, but we'll take it.
Especially the opposite field. Escobar on the move. The throw down from Avila is in time. The tag applied there by Worth, and the inning comes to an end with a caught stealing. So Lyle Overbay will lead it off for the Jays in the top of the second. But before that, the Tigers will hit thanks to this play by Alex Avila, throwing out Escobar. Here's the lineup he throws the Toronto Blue Jays way. Jackson leads it off, hitting .316, rhymes with his first major league start. Damon and Cabrera. What more can you say about this guy? Bosch, Larish, Kelly, Avila makes his first start of the series behind the plate, and Danny Worth hits ninth and will play short. Jesse Litch on the hill for the Blue Jays here in game 2. And he has to face the ever dangerous Austin Jackson to lead it off. Throws him a first pitch strike. Jackson with back-to-back 3-hit games. The inside out swing picked by John McDonald on the one hop, and a little slick in that infield, but makes the play.
Yeah, right now with the water on the field, it's a little slick. No problem for Johnny Mack. Jesse Litch will take the mound tonight and get the start. This will be his 8th start of the season. Picked up his first victory since September of 2008 when he beat Kansas City his last time out 13-1. That was that game that looked like it was going to rain a little bit, so he was hustling in and out. No walks, no strikeouts, but he pitched into the 6th inning, gave up 8 hits. Maybe discovered something about himself in that game, that he doesn't have to keep throwing cutters, that he can challenge the hitters a little bit more, and they'll get themselves out.
Normally a quick worker anyways, but felt that because he was forced to work even quicker to get the innings in, felt that that helped him out. Will Rhymes pops it up to the left side, foul territory. Encarnacion leans over. Does he come up with it? Yes, he does. And the great defense continues by Edwin Encarnacion.
Right right on cue is Edwin Encarnacion when we're talking about his defense. Again, he made one error on this whole road trip. That was the first game in Baltimore, but since then he's been sensational. Going into the second row to get this one. Watch the reach. Leans in and makes the catch. That is in the second row to get the out against Rhymes. Nice play by Encarnacion.
And a good job by the umpire, Manny Gonzalez, to get over there and make sure that Encarnacion came out with the ball in hand and in glove, and he did so for the second out of the inning. So that'll bring Johnny Damon to the plate. Encarnacion continues to play fine defensively. Damon has had some success against Litch in his career. 5 for 14 with a home run. Lifetime against Litch. Hit on the ground. Escobar, 2 hops, and the throw over to get Litch out of the inning. No score, 3-1 here in Detroit.
The Jays on Rogers Sportsnet, brought to you by your local independently owned home hardware or home hardware building center. Homeowners helping homeowners.
Second inning of game 2 of this doubleheader here in Detroit. Lyle Overbay was at the plate when Yunel Escobar was caught stealing to end the first. So he gets a fresh start here to kick off the second for the Jays. Underman deals him a strike. Vernon Wells getting some rest in this game, and so Overbay, swinging the hot bat, moves up to the 4-hole.
You mentioned that Overbay, just his first time this year that he has hit in the number 4 hole. Cito Gaston said he was going to move him up if he would come up with some big base hits, even bigger than that one last game.
Fantastic piece of hitting to go the other way off one of the toughest closers in baseball right now. 2-run shot. And the Blue Jays win it 5-3 in game 1 thanks to Overbay. Pulls this to the right side. Will Rhymes in the outfield grass. Makes a nice play.
Detroit is second from the bottom in fielding percentage in the American League, but they've made some great plays in this whole series. Let's see how they will line up defensively. Johnny Damon did not play in the first game. Pinch hit. He will start in left field. Will Rhymes will play at second base. That's a change. Don Kelly at third base. Miguel Cabrera was the DH. And we've been talking about his hitting, but he is working on a 28-game errorless streak over there at first base. So we're showing some good mobility for a big man.
He had the half-day rest, if you will, in the first game. In the air for Austin Jackson, and John Buck was retired in one pitch. So, Pat, you get into a doubleheader situation. What are the players doing between games?
Eating. There's all kind of things. Some people will work out if they know they're not going to play. You can go down there, you'd see guys playing cards. A little bit different now when they have these split doubleheaders because you have so much time in between games. In the olden days, it was 20 minutes. As you were finishing up the first game and you were going into the clubhouse, you'd run into the second game starting pitcher on the way out getting loose, and you only had 20 minutes. Now with these split doubleheaders, you've got a couple of hours in between that you can grab a bite to eat, work out a little bit, maybe go down to the batting cage and get some hacks, play some cards.
A little cat nap, maybe?
Oh, yeah.
The trainer's room?
Into the trainer's room, the peace and quiet room.
Well, they look well rested, this bunch, and it's been a long trip here as this trip has been extended slightly. The addition of this game thanks to the postponement of a game on Friday when it rained awfully hard, and then as soon as everyone left the ballpark, it ceased for a while. But here we are in game 2 of this doubleheader. Adam Lynn, line shot back up the middle, base hit.
Chuck and duck if you're the pitcher. When you've got a hitter, looks like he's starting to lock in. Lynn had a hit in the first game, a double, and this one right over the head of Jeremy Bonderman.
Pat, you used the analogy in the first game of not pulling off the pitch by burying that chin into your shoulder. That's a pretty good example of Lynn doing that there to pick up the base hit here in the second.
Especially very early on in this game as the shadows start to play with the pitchers and the hitters, you really have to track the ball a long way. It's almost like the ball disappears when it goes from the sunlight into the shadows around home plate, so you really have to stay on that ball.
Encarnacion with a fine defensive play the bottom half of the inning. Comes out swinging here and is behind 0-2.
He just didn't see those first 2 pitches. Breaking balls from Jeremy Bonderman. It looks like a fastball out of his hand, and he's got a good breaking ball. He always has.
This one in the dirt, stopped there by Avila. .318 since being recalled from Las Vegas, and you have to wonder if it wasn't just a little kick in the pants to Encarnacion, because he's been fantastic in both facets of the game since his return.
Remember when he went down to Las Vegas? I mean, he ripped it up down there. Hit something like 450. Said, I don't belong down here.
Inside to Encarnacion, and one thing that really impressed the Blue Jays was the fact that in Las Vegas, he went out for early hitting. He went out to take infield practice well before the game, and then he did his regular routine with batting practice and so on, proving to the Blue Jays that, yes, I want to be back with the big club. This little piece of that pitch from Bonderman to keep the at-bat alive.
12 hits to start the second half of the season on this road trip. 6 of them doubles. Every time we look up, he's lining a ball into left center field or right center field. He was pulling off the ball early in the season, big time. He told me that. He said, I feel a little anxious.
Slice down the right field side, and this one will be foul.
And when you're anxious, you want to hit the ball before it gets to you. Your front shoulder opens up, your head flies off the ball, but now Encarnacion has the ability to hit the ball down the right field line, stay in the middle of the field. Been able to hit those pitches now.
The result early in the season, a lot of weak fly balls to second base or to shallow right field, but those balls are now being driven. Encarnacion lays off. Blue Jays will leave immediately after the game to return home to Toronto. The Rogers Centre home of a 7-day, 6-game homestand. The Baltimore Orioles kick it off with 80s night tomorrow night. Lind on the way. Encarnacion. This time foul down the third base line. So everyone will reset. Avila will come out. A little chat with Bonderman. Don't worry about the runner. It's 3-2. He'll be leaving anyhow. So let's focus on trying to get Encarnacion here. 3-2 pitch. Again, Lind on the way. Encarnacion reaches and fouls it back. The bat ends up at the mound, and he'll take a walk out there to get it.
Hot. Look at that. That was a really tough pitch from Jeremy Bonderman. Breaking ball down and away. He almost throws his bat at the ball to keep his at bat alive. Certainly does.
He's a comebacker. Good play by Bonderman. This will be the 10th pitch of the at bat. Encarnacion fighting off some good Bonderman pitches, and again Lind leaves, but it won't matter as Encarnacion strikes out and the inning is over. The Lind single is stranded, no score.
He's a strike thrower. No walks his last start, just one the start before that. Cuts and curves. He'll use that cut fastball along with a good curveball. Those will basically be his breaking pitches. And using the four more. That's the four-seam fastball. He's using that a lot more now, which has been a very effective pitch for him because it matches up very nicely with his cutter and his curveball.
Go back to his rookie year in the early stages of 2008 before he was injured, and the Blue Jays started to encourage the use of that a little more, and it's sneaky fast. Just enough to change speeds to put that in the hitter's mind and give them something else to deal with.
Yeah, just another weapon that he can use against both righties and lefties.
Cabrera hits this ball hard to center field. Dwayne Wise is there, and Cabrera is retired.
Some changes in the defense for the Blue Jays. We've talked about Fred Lewis back in the lineup, Dwayne Wise and Jose Bautista in the outfield. Vernon Wells with the night off. Johnny Mack with the start, just his 11th at second base this year. He has made 21 starts now for the Blue Jays. He's committed just one error this year. That was at third base when he was in Cleveland. So a very handy glove man for the Blue Jays.
And that was a costly one, if I can remember, part of a 4-game series in which the Blue Jays were swept at the end of June and the start of July. Brennan Bosch. So much has been made about his rookie numbers, the 12 home runs, the 50 batted in, but he is in a slump now. One for his last 26 coming into this game. got to be one of the tough things to deal with as a youngster. You have such great success and then failure.
You know, and it's day after day. You just come to the ballpark, but your mindset should be, today's the day I bust out of it. You know, he's putting in the time and the effort, listening to everybody, working with Lloyd McClendon, the batting coach. But your mindset has to be positive.
Pat, you mentioned in game 1 that Jim Leland is so great with young players, and when commenting about Bosch, he said, hey, listen, it's going to happen. It's happened to the best of players. But we have a lot of faith in you. We think you're going to be a successful player for a long time. We're going to keep throwing you out there and maybe once in a while pull you out of some tough situations to try and give you a little rest or a mental break here and there. But we want you in there every day, and we want you trying to compete the way you've been competing to this point.
He's always been really good with young players, Jim Leland, because he shows so much confidence in them. Tells it like it is. The first thing he said to us was he's really struggling, but he's going to be a really good player.
Well, there goes that one for 26. Line shot back over the head of Litch and into center field.
You could win an all-new Honda CRZ and other great prizes when you vote for the Honda Play of the Month. Vote today at BlueJays.com.
Jim Leland stacking that lineup with left-handed hitters. 6 of the 9 hitters in this lineup hitting left-handed. We go to another one in Jeff Larish. Good production in AAA Toledo. First pitch strike to Larish. One of 3 players ever to hit 3 home runs in a College World Series game. He did that with Arizona State University back in June of 2005. Big cut there from Larish. Originally drafted by the Dodgers in 04.
Well, he's a very quiet hitter. You can see he stands up straight and moves right at the last minute. One thing that I noticed about his hands, they don't really go back very far. Got to go back before you can go forward. Very quiet hitter at the plate.
And this one was hit well into the upper deck here at Comerica Park.
Get the head out.
But way foul.
He has spent some time with Detroit and actually played, got 100 at bats with them in 2008 and had a couple of home runs. Last year, 74 at bats and 4 home runs.
On the move from first is Bosch. Throw down from Buck. Goes into center field. Bosch gets up, has a look around, but won't chance it. Good backup there by Dwayne Wise.
John Buck has done a good job this year in throwing out base runners, so I got to figure this ball he did not have a good grip in because he didn't have, this wasn't even close. Out in the center field. Bosch will steal it. Litch will pick up his first strikeout.
3rd stolen base of the season for the Tigers rookie. Kelly looks at a ball from Litch with 2 down here in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Kelly did not play at all in game 1 today. Litch, quick look at Bosch and then delivers a ball. One thing I've always liked about Litch's game, he tends to work quickly. He gets out there, gets it back, and throws it.
No messing around. Get it, make good pitches.
Fouled out of play.
One of the things that we have seen from Jesse Litch over his last couple of starts, and they've been decent. 7 innings, 2 starts ago against the Boston Red Sox, into the 6th inning against Kansas City last time. It's that good late life that he usually has on all his pitches seem to be coming back a little bit more.
pitch to Kelly. That one misses. So much has been said that when you miss a significant amount of time and you come back from surgery, location is the thing that's the last to come back.
And the second last thing to come back, movement. The good action on all your pitches. If you throw a good cutter, that good late life. Because you just can't finish it. You can't get out there and finish it. But he has been doing it over his last two. There's what he has done in his first five. An up and down, mostly down first five starts of this season. But his last two, that was the Jesse Litch that we saw from a couple of years ago. Pitches per inning down. Opponent's batting average down.
And he has been pressured somewhat by the fact that the Blue Jays want him to make consecutive good starts. And up until that point, it was, well, we'll wait and see. And the threat of being sent down to AAA Las Vegas seemingly inspired Litch over his last two starts. Kelly draws the 2-out walk. Bosch is at second. Kelly on at first with the walk. The hitter is Alex Avila. It's our first viewing of Avila in this series. Limited sampling, but pretty good success against the Blue Jays. Pitch misses away. Avila's father, Al, is the assistant general manager for Dave Dombrowski here in Detroit.
We got to see him before yesterday's game as he gave Brennan Bosch an award. He won the Rookie Player of the Month for the month of June. I think this kid is going to be a very good major league player. First of all, he is a very cerebral catcher. He understands it, and he's a good catch and throw guy. By that I mean he can handle the pitching staff, and he throws well. He threw out Yunel Escobar in the first inning. In fact, he leads the American League in catching runners stealing at 38%. Showed off that good quickness in the first inning by getting Escobar at second base.
First 4 months of last year in AA, and then came up on August 5th and hasn't looked back since. Here he strikes out looking. 26 pitches it takes Litch to get out of the second inning after only 7 in the first, but still we have no score. Angels starting tomorrow night. It's 80s night at the ballpark, and then Thursday will be an off day before the Cleveland Indians pay a visit to the Rogers Center. 416-341-1234 or BlueJays.com, or most Rogers Plus locations. You can pick up tickets for those games.
And a chance to keep it going for the Blue Jays. That Baltimore Cleveland series, they have already guaranteed a winning record on this road trip.
Dwayne Wise drops a bunt down. Bonderman off the mound, and they'll have no chance.
Put that right in your pocket, because you can't roll it out there any better than Dwayne Wise just did on the bunt. Ever since Yunel Escobar has gotten here, the team has started to use the bunt and their speed to their advantage. This one, picture perfect by Wise to pick up the infield single. Bonderman doesn't even attempt to make a throw.
Spoke to Wise a little bit about his mindset now, and early on in his career he was pressing. As a fourth outfielder, every at bat, every game you start has meaning, and you wonder, does he pitch out, fakes the run down, throw down, and not in time? So he got the false start, but recovered quickly.
That is a heads-up play right there by Dwayne Wise. Like the Blue Jays were going to play hit and run, but he realized that they were pitching out, so he puts the brakes on and gets right back to first base. He would have been a dead duck if he kept going to second.
Saw some of that cat and mouse in game number 1. McDonald on the ground, reaching for it is Kelly in foul territory, uses a good arm to throw it across. But McDonald does the job in moving the runner Wise to second.
Well, that's one thing Kelly has. He's got a good arm at third base. McDonald almost gets it over his head on one bounce. Uses that length and then that good arm to throw McDonald. That is a tough play when you're throwing it from one end of the diamond to the other.
Kelly made it work, and the good news for the Jays, a productive at bat as Wise has moved to second. Getting back to Wise, he said, hey, early in my career I just pressed so much, thinking that every at bat, every play I made in the field would mean me staying or being sent down or getting another start. He says, I'm too old for that now. I just go out there and play. Yeah, and whatever happens, happens.
You can't play the game that way. It's just too hard to begin with. You start putting that extra type of pressure on yourself like that, you're going to fail. That is a great mindset, the way that he is right now. Just go out there and just play the game. Whatever happens, happens. And for him, great things have happened since he's gotten here.
It's worked out pretty good. Fred Lewis struck out his first time up. Good to see Lewis back in the lineup. That element of speed present at the top and bottom of the Blue Jays lineup here in game 2 of this doubleheader. Hurt that right ankle in the 3rd inning Wednesday, carried it through to the 5th, and then had to tap out and leave. Chases a pitch out of the strike zone there from Bonderman. Avila applies the tag to confirm the strikeout.
3rd strikeout tonight by Bonderman. 2nd time that he's gotten Fred Lewis, both of them on a breaking ball in the dirt. Fred Lewis not seeing that one, evident of that swing.
Get into a nice groove, and then you get a few days off and your timing suffers.
He was in a very nice groove. The most doubles by any #1 hitter in all of baseball. 27 of them. Then you have to take a couple of days off, 3 to be exact, and then face a tough pitcher like Bonderman.
Now Escobar, first pitch on the ground. Kelly diving stop and throws across the diamond again. A good strong throw from Kelly to end the inning. 2 great defensive plays by the Tigers' 3rd baseman Don Kelly, and here's the 2nd of the lot. To the Rogers Center, Brad Ferguson against Brandon Morrow. Morrow at 6-6, and it's been a long time coming since he last started. Blue Jays trying to limit his innings.
Started against the Orioles at the beginning of this road trip, pitched very well. Brad Ferguson started off this road trip versus the Blue Jays. They pounded him. Get another chance tomorrow.
First pitch swing for Worth, who homered in game number 1, but this one's foul.
Worth hit his first big league home run July the 7th off of Brad Ferguson. So we're going to bring it all together now.
All right. Nice work.
Homered in game number 1 for a second big league home run. That off of Brett Cecil.
This time he goes to right field. Bautista first started back and then a few steps in to retire Worth. It's a beautiful night here in Detroit. When we got up this morning, it was pouring rain. It was gray. It was wet all over the place. We got to the ballpark. The skies opened up. The sun started to shine. Game 1 was beautiful, and game 2 much the same way here at Comerica Park. Austin Jackson has seemingly perfected that inside-out swing. He's used it a lot in this series. Fouls off the first pitch in similar fashion. He idolized Ken Griffey Jr. growing up. And 2 years ago, when he was in spring training with the Yankees, he got to meet Griffey and had basically a speech prepared for him. Well, when the actual meeting took place, he locked up and he said, Mr. Griffey, can I have a bat? And that was it.
That was a lot like Travis Snyder with the first time Snyder met him. Snyder grew up in the Seattle area. Same thing when he met Ken Griffey Jr. How you doing?
Locked right up.
Did he get his bat?
He got his bat.
Okay.
Yeah, just in time. A couple of years later, Griffey no longer in the game. Retired earlier this year. We'll see him 5 years from now. Get on the ground and one hopper to John McDonald.
You could win an all-new Honda CRZ and other great prizes when you vote for the Honda Play of the Month. Vote today at BlueJays.com.
2 down here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Second baseman Will Rhymes made his big league debut as a pinch hitter in game number 1. He came in the 9th, pinch hitting for Gerald Laird, and struck out in that game. First out of the inning as Kevin Gregg closed out a 5-3 Blue Jays win. Rhymes just called up from AAA Toledo this morning as Carlos Guillen and Maglio Ordonez were both DL'd by the Tigers. In case you missed it, in last night's game, trying to score from first on a double to right center by Miguel Cabrera, Ordonez slid in, caught a spike, broke that right ankle out 6 to 8 weeks. The sun wreaking havoc here for the fans at Comerica Park.
I bet you one of those is that guy who dropped his drink on himself. He's nice and dry now.
Rhymes to short. Escobar smooth as silk. The inning is over. Litch has given up just 1 hit.
Home Hardware or Home Hardware Building Center. Homeowners helping homeowners.
Welcome back to Comerica Park. A beautiful night here as we move to the top of the fourth inning. No score between the Blue Jays and the Tigers. For the win, the Blue Jays will win the series. With a loss, the 4-game set will be tied at 2 apiece. Jose Bautista fouls it off to the right side. This is the 102nd doubleheader in Blue Jays history. They last played a doubleheader in September 1st of 2009 at Texas. This is the 6th time that these two teams have met in a doubleheader. The Blue Jays have won 2 of those, lost 1, and split the other 2. Getting the sweep is an awfully tough task. It seems that although they're much more rare than they used to be, but when you see doubleheaders, you usually see the split. Bautista hits it hard over the head of Kelly. Johnny Damon tracks it down. A good sliding catch and a nice throw in to hold Bautista to a single.
That was the whole key to that play. Johnny Damon hustling over there and cutting the ball off before it gets to the wall. They ran on him the other night when he played left field. He knows that Bautista is thinking too as soon as he comes out of the box. Hustles over, slides, makes the catch, comes up and accurately throws the ball in to second base to hold Bautista to a single. Now you say, well, that's not that big of a play, you know. Well, it is. If you get the ball on the ground, you get 2 very quickly.
Wow. Almost came to fruition there. It just hit a little too soft by Overbay. But the job done, advancing Bautista to second on the ground out.
That's where Bonderman can be so tough, because he can sink the ball to left-handers. He's got a breaking ball. He can get the ball on the ground.
When I talked to Bonderman the other day, he's really rediscovering how to pitch, how to find new ways to get hitters out. And that's been the challenge, since the velocity and the movement isn't quite the same as it was earlier in his career.
Well, when he first came up, everything was power. It was power sinker, power breaking ball. He threw 184 innings in 2004. By 2006, he was able to work 34 starts. That's a career high at 214 innings. And they're doing studies on young kids when they get to the major leagues, pitchers, and tracking all the pitches and the innings and all of that. And they're finding that, you know, you start putting the wear and tear on young under 25-year-old pitchers at the major league level, a lot of them start blowing out.
That's why the Blue Jays have been so protective of their inexperienced and young staff.
They certainly have. Right around 100 pitches. 110 at most that they will use against for their starters. It's been about 1.5 years since he has pitched competitive in long-term baseball. His first 12 of the season, you can see he was very fresh, but over his last 5, not so good, and there might be a reason for that.
Yeah, the arm issues that he's had.
Dead arm
period that he feels that he's going through lately, that he told me a little bit about in our conversation the other day. John Buck just got a piece of that.
Are they calling him out? John Buck wants some help from first base umpire. He thought when he tipped that ball that it hit the dirt. But the first base umpire, Dan Bellino, says no, that ball was caught. Cito Gaston's going to come out and
a whole lot of confusion.
Get this all clarified.
He's pretty fired up down there, Cito. He's pretty animated. You don't see a ton of that. Brian Gorman hasn't been here this entire series. He comes in for the back end of this doubleheader and gets the plate job right away.
Well, you be the judge here. Breaking ball down. Does Avila hold on to the ball? And that's obvious that it bounces into his glove. That's not even close. This one will really show it. Not even close.
Dirt comes up.
The ball was tipped. You could hear that the ball was tipped. That one was about 1.5 feet in front of Avila. But it'll go as the fourth strikeout for Bonderman.
Now Adam Lynn, first pitch off the bare hand of Bonderman, and then picked up by the shortstop Worth and advanced to first. So the Blue Jays strand Bautista. Boston, New York, here in Detroit. The Hall of Fame inductions in Cooperstown today. We'll get to that later, but does Johnny Damon have a shot?
Well, there have been 3 players who have had 3,000 hits in their career, 200 home runs, and 400 stolen bases. 2 of them are in the Hall of Fame, Molitor and Henderson. Craig Biggio is going to be in the Hall of Fame, I think, someday. Johnny Damon, when you look into his stats, 2,515 hits now.
And we'll try and add a double here. Bautista will have something to say about that. Throw on the money, the tag, and safe at second is Damon.
Here comes Cito again, and from here it looked like the throw beat him. And the good quick hands by Escobar looked like it got the tag before Damon got to second base. This might be a little...
Dan Iasonia is the second base umpire, and Cito saying, hey, he got him on the leg here, and now he's starting to get fired up. And what I like about this is that Escobar comes over in a trade from Atlanta where it's thought that, you know, hey, maybe he's not very well liked. Cito Gaston comes out to defend his guy, and I think that's a good sign.
I certainly do. And to defend his guy, he thought he had him. That might be a little carryover from the John Duff incident last inning. This ball right off the wall to Bautista. You know how good he is. Bare hands it and throws a strike. Right there, it looked like he got him right before he got to the bag. But he is called safe. Johnny Damon with that good speed. He still has that even though he's 36 years old. That looked close.
Hit number 25-15 in his career. Pitch up and in to Cabrera. Yeah, the fans don't like that here. They've seen enough of their players go down to injury, and this is the last guy they can afford to see go down.
You have to show him the ball in. That one got away from Litch, and it was up and in. But you have to show him the ball in at some point. You can't let him extend.
Great numbers for Cabrera. Bloop RBI in that first game. Continues to produce at outstanding levels.
Very limited sampling there against Jesse Litch. But he has reached him for a couple of home runs.
Fouled out of play once again. Blue Jays wrapping up this 10-game road trip here in a day-night doubleheader situation in Detroit. They took game 1 by a 5-3 count. Lyle Overbay's home run in the 9th, the difference. In the dirt. And Buck finally tracks it down. That's the key, though. Keep it in front. Two have seen a lot of each other over the years. As Damon played first in Boston and then in New York in the American League East. So you see the Blue Jays quite often, 18, 19 times a year. Takes a little something off, does Litch, and Cabrera's out in front of him.
That doesn't faze Cabrera, does it? I mean, he stays within his plan where he doesn't vary from what he tries to do at the plate. You can try different things. You can try inside. You can throw breaking balls early, whatever, but you're not going to faze Miguel Cabrera. He really stays within what he wants to do.
Which checks Damon and then gets Cabrera to chase. You do not see that very often.
That's a huge pitch by Jesse Litch, and I think it was all set up by that first fastball inside. He established fastball in and up against Cabrera, and that opened up the outer half to get the strikeout.
Well, that's a good sign for Litch, because when you talk about location being the last thing to come back, if you're able to locate it up and in as he did to Cabrera with that first pitch and then move the ball around a little bit, that's a sign that location is really coming back.
And good late life, too, to get the strikeout.
Brandon Bosch singled in the 2nd inning. Just his 2nd hit in his last 27 at bats. Stole a base, and then he and Don Kelly were stranded.
So is Johnny Damon a Hall of Famer? We touched on it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the numbers right now would make it iffy, but by the time his career comes to an end, I think so.
He's in fantastic shape for 36 years old, so he's going to play, I think, at least 3 more seasons. And that will be enough to get him to 3,000 hits.
You'd have to think that starts to enter the mind of a player when they get, you know, he's now 25, 15. You got to think about 3,000.
He's not that type of player. He's not a numbers kind of guy who worries about that. But you look at the rest of his numbers: 213 home runs, 381 stolen bases for Johnny Damon. If he gets to that club like we showed up there, he'll be in the Hall of Fame. 400 stolen bases. He's got 19 more to go. That might be harder to get than the 400 or so hits he needs.
And they'd have to get the old Gaylord Perry cap with a million different logos on it if and when he goes in. Pitch from Litch misses, and Bosch draws a 1-out walk. Runners at first and second.
You know, I knew Johnny Damon was a good player, and he had played a long time, and he had some decent numbers. I didn't realize he had so many hits. Yeah. 2,515 already.
It was the same way, and when we did a closer examination of the numbers, you're like, whoa, wait a second here. This guy's going to have over 10,000 plate appearances. He's driven in a lot of runs, scored a ton of runs. I mean,
he'll have over 500 doubles also when all's said and done.
Hit on the ground by Larish. McDonald to Escobar. They transfer to first. Is good. So Litch utilizes the double play to get out of the inning unscathed. Well, Jesse Barfield, the 86 home run champ with 40 of them. The Orioles in town. Get your best 80s outfit on and come on down for a little fun night of 80s pop culture. Tickets at 416-341-1234 or bluejays.com/tickets. Should be a lot of fun. Edwin Encarnacion, an 8-game hit streak on the line, struck out in his first at bat. Pat, you mentioned that the shadows may have had something to do with that, but everything in shadows now. Saw sunlight and the light standards here dart across the field and create some interesting patterns. And Encarnacion, as you mentioned, looked like he was fooled in a couple of pitches in that first at bat.
Threw him breaking balls his first 2 times up. His first 2 pitches, his first time up. So Encarnacion taking all the way this time, and wouldn't you know it, fastball right down to the heart of the plate to fall behind 0-1. Bonderman is a talent. He was a former first-round draft pick of the Oakland A's back in 2001 out of high school. 26th overall pick by the A's. They used him and a couple of other players, Carlos Pena with the Tampa Bay Rays, and Franklin Herman, a big hard-throwing reliever. They traded them to Detroit back in 2002 for Jeff Weaver. That was a trade that was made in July to help Oakland into the playoffs.
Past shortstop and into left field. Worth can't come up with it, and Encarnacion extends the hit streak to 9 games with that single.
13 knocks now on this 10-game road trip for Edwin Encarnacion. You throw in the great glove work that he has had, and he's had a nice start to the second half of this season.
Yeah, that's big for the Blue Jays, and that's really started to make everyone second guess the plan when Travis Snyder comes back. Expected back at some point next week. That's why he shows bunt and lays off. We thought it would be Tuesday because that's the first day he's eligible, but with this doubleheader scenario and uncertainty as to who will start for the Blue Jays Wednesday, it may be a pitcher first and then Snyder thereafter.
No official word from the Blue Jays on who will make that start on Wednesday.
Wise shows bunt again and fouls it over the screen behind the plate.
There's Jim Leland, the manager of the Detroit Tigers, taking a hard look at Brian Butterfield, trying to decide what he wants to do. Now he's going to flash signs to the catcher First thing I saw when those two met here on Thursday was, have you changed your signs? That's what Leland says to Butterfield. Because he loves to steal signs from the opposition.
It's all part of it.
You still using the same signs you used last year? You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Always looking to get an edge.
Yeah, you know, Butter, I mean, that would get into his kitchen a little bit. Dwayne Wise pops it up to right field. Brennan Bosch, the rookie, back in front of the track to make the catch. John McDonald steps to the plate with one down. He's the Jays' 9-hole hitter, making his 11th start. We'd like to welcome viewers from our East and Pacific region who have watched the Seattle Mariners upend the Red Sox. Here we are in the top of the 5th inning at Comerica Park. This is game 2 of a day-night doubleheader. The Blue Jays took game 1 by a 5-3 count. No score at this point in the game, but there's one out here. The runner in first is Edwin Encarnacion. Jeremy Bonderman is on the mound for the Tigers. And it's been a well-pitched game by both he and Jesse Litch to this point.
Not a bad time now to start something. Neither one of these teams have come close to scoring a run here in game number 2. A good guy handling the bat. And John McDonald, not a bad time to maybe start something aggressively on the bases with Edwin Encarnacion. Ryan Butterfield going through all kind of signs. It looks like it could be confusing when you see those signs.
But when you've watched them for 100 years like Leland, they're a little bit easier to decipher. Do players do that much? The players who aren't in the game, are they paying attention to that sort of thing?
A lot of times managers will make the starting pitcher, instead of just sitting there, give them something to do. Hey, you watch the opponent's third base coach. See if you can pick anything up from him. You know, if there's an indicator or they use the right hand more than their left hand. Maybe you can steal some kind of signs that can help you later on in the ball game or in the series.
How simple are they, Pat? When you break it down, does it really just come down to a touch or a hand?
It really does become very simple when you break it down. It could be an indicator in hot spots on your body. If I touch certain spots on my body, like my left chest or right chest or left leg or right legs, things like that, you can start counting. There's different systems you can use. Or you can use hot spots. If I touch, my left leg, that is a steal after an indicator.
McDonald reaches and strikes out.
But when you see a third base coach go through a whole series of signs about the around the face area, the ball cap, the touching and rubbing and all that kind of stuff, those could all be deke signs. There's only like maybe 2 or 3 hot spots that you're really zeroing in on if you're a hitter.
To the top of the order for Fred Lewis, who shows bunt as well. And we haven't seen this out of the Blue Jays. We've seen Escobar show bunt. Dwayne Wise has a bunt base hit. Lewis has showed bunt. John McDonald has showed bunt.
Jose Bautista showed bunt, and I think that was just a deep.
That was a deep.
To get the third baseman in so he can rifle one by him.
Fred Lewis, center field. Austin Jackson started in, and now this one is over his head. Edwin Encarnacion rounds third. He will score easily. Fred Lewis right on his heels will end up at third base with an RBI triple. Welcome back, Freddie.
We have talked at the beginning of this game about how hard it is for them to pick the ball up when the pitcher is in the sunlight and the batter is in the shadow. Well, the same thing's true for an outfielder. They're standing in the sunlight and the batter's in the shadows. You can't pick the ball up, and I think that's what happens to Austin Jackson right here. He broke in thinking that ball was in, and then he was cooked. This ball goes over his head, shot like again and again by Fred Lewis, and that ankle looks pretty good right here as he comes around second base. and makes it into third easily with a stand-up triple.
He was motoring. 5th triple of the year for Lewis. And the Blue Jays are on the board. Now Escobar. It's strike 1 from Bonderman. Managers love the 2-out base hits, especially when they score a run. And Lewis is back in fine form for the Jays.
He has played a great center field. Austin Jackson all series long against the Blue Jays, covering some serious ground in center field. But that time it just didn't look like he picked the ball up. And as soon as he broke in, no chance to break back and make that catch.
You know, you get to see a guy like Fred Lewis every day, and you mentioned earlier in the year that this guy has 15-20 home run potential. When you don't see him every day, maybe you're surprised by his ability to drive the ball. And combine that with the fact that you have trouble picking it up, and the result here is the first run of the game.
Great the first time through the lineup, Jeremy Bonderman, but steadily goes up. Second time almost 300 and goes all the way up to 336. Third time through the lineup for him. And that's where we are right here with Escobar hitting.
First time through, he stranded 3 Blue Jays on 3 hits. And now here we are, seeing that second and third time through the lineup where Bonderman isn't quite as successful. So good adjustments being made by Blue Jays hitters. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 out here in the top of the 5th inning. Fred Lewis is on third. Yunel Escobar watches the breaking ball and has worked the count full. Blue Jays looked at this portion of the schedule coming out of the All-Star break and felt they could make up some ground. Escobar on the ground. Can't be cut off by the third baseman. So Worth, the shortstop, takes it, and just in time to throw out Escobar. So the inning is over, but not before Fred Lewis does the damage.
Didn't think he had a shot, but Worth with a very quick throw over to first base. He gets him to the liking of starting pitcher Jeremy Bonderman. Blue Jays, they'll return home to face Baltimore and Cleveland, and then a series of games against the American League East. The Yankees, Tampa, Boston, before heading out to the West Coast to take on the Angels, who have a new addition to their lineup. Supposedly, from what we hear, Dan Herron has been acquired by the Anaheim Angels. And wouldn't that be something?
He's just really sneaky there. Tony Regan's the GM there. You never heard the Angels name much in that mix.
Stick him in with the rest of the pitchers that the Angels have. They're only 6 games behind the Texas Rangers for the AL West.
That'll change the landscape just a little bit. And that really puts a premium on some of the other pitchers available, especially a guy like Ted Lilly. Usually when that first domino falls, the rest follow in short order. Kelly rips it foul down the right side. Kelly's made a couple of nice defensive plays in this game. He walked in his first plate appearance in the second.
Listed as an outfielder on their roster. You can see why he's got a very good arm for a third baseman. Got good carry on his ball.
And the way things are going, who knows? Maybe he'll get a chance to play some outfield here for the Tigers. Decimated by injuries. Carlos Guillen, Maglio Ordonez, Brandon Inge, all on the disabled list. So Litch loses Kelly to lead off the bottom of the 5th.
So where are the Detroit Tigers when it comes to the American League Central? 2.5 games behind the White Sox. White Sox, Twins, Tigers. This one's going to go down to the final week of the season.
Twins just seemingly find ways to do it. When guys go down, they plug another guy in. Pitching is usually pretty good. They don't walk a lot of guys. Fundamentally sound baseball.
Potential good news also with Justin Morneau upping his workout routine. He's not ready to play in games, but they said today that he is starting to take his baseball activity up a notch.
You look at guys like Ryan Church, Corey Koski, who saw it with Aaron Hill and the Blue Jays. Baseball now really paying a lot more serious attention to concussions and the long-lasting effects that they could have.
And it looked so innocent when it happened back at the Rogers Center. John McDonald inadvertently kneeing Justin Morneau in the head, but he went down like a sack of potatoes and has not been on the baseball field since. We hope he is getting better.
Try hit and run. Avila, McDonald, Escobar in the air. Acrobatic play to complete the double play. Second of the game. So that leadoff walk is erased in short order.
How sweet is that by both McDonald and Escobar? First of all, by McDonald realizing that they're in the hit and run, so I've got to get the ball and get rid of it quickly. Gives it to Escobar with that fantastic arm. While he's in the air, makes an easy double play. Jesse Litch is loving that. Easy in the terms that his arm is so strong that he got him by a couple of strides. That was a pretty double play turn by the middle of the infield.
A couple of 4-6 threes induced by Litch. Now has induced 6 double plays. A great weapon as a pitcher to use when you're able to keep the ball on the ground. Half-hearted swing there by the shortstop Worth. He's behind 0-2.
That can just take the pitcher to another level. You can see Litch now really pumped up after that leadoff walk and then gets the big double play. Throwing hard right over the top with that one. 92 miles an hour.
Litch works quickly. 1-2, misses, and the count is even. Blue Jays took a 1-0 lead in the top of the 5th inning. After an Encarnacion single, Wise and Mack were retired. Johnny Mack, that is. Before Lewis brought him home. Hit to the right side, and John McDonald completes the inning. So Worth is retired. Jesse Litch uses the double play, and a sweet one at that. Johnny Mack, Yunel Escobar, and now the inning is over. in Atlanta. But since the trade, it's been nothing but good times here before the game, practicing his jump shot and then really using that athleticism for real in the double play.
How about this athleticism up in the air and to be able to gun that ball over the first base? Look at the runner's not even in the picture yet. Escobar showing off that great arm and great athleticism.
First pitch by Bautista. This ball has lift, this ball has length, and this ball has left. Home run, Jose Bautista. 27th of the year, and the Blue Jays lead it 2-0.
And another first pitch home run by the Blue Jays. You better not be messing around when you come after them. Right away, Bautista not wasting any time. This is 14 home runs given up now by Jeremy Bonderman, 9 of them solo. And a no doubt about it, really, from Bautista. Bonderman can't believe that that ball got out of here.
Bautista all smiles in that Blue Jays dugout, and why not? 27 home runs to lead all of Major League Baseball.
The way he attacked that pitch from Bonderman is exactly the way Cito Gaston wants you to hit a hanging breaking ball. You saw the tumbling action on that pitch. If you cut your swing off, if you go to attack it and then cut your swing off, you're going to just pop the ball up. What Cito Gaston likes you to do is just continue on. Finish that swing. If it's up there, go through it and keep your bat head up there. That was a perfect illustration right there from Bautista of how to hit a hanging breaking ball.
Arbitration eligible for next year as the trade deadline approaches. There's been some talk about Bautista. But you have to think the Blue Jays would be interested in maybe keeping this guy in the long term as Overbay strikes out swinging.
Well, he's so versatile. He can play different positions. He's great in the clubhouse. He's great with all the players. He could play right field. And can you name a right fielder who is playing better than Jose Bautista?
There's not many I've seen in the American League that have a better arm, that's for certain.
Well, he is tied with about 3 or 4 other players for the most assists in the American League with 7. Remember, he's also played 30 games at third base, and he still is tied for the lead. That's impressive.
And he's shown no signs of infield play when he's gone to the outfield. His routes to balls are really good. Arm is fantastic. He plays the game hard. Cito Gaston and Nick Leyva have kind of put him in charge of Yunel Escobar to help accustom him to life in Toronto and with this Blue Jays team. That's how strongly they feel about his character. So this guy's the whole package.
Well, you have to be a good athlete, first of all, to be able to switch from the left side of the diamond and play a really tough position like third base, and then go out to right field and play a tough position in right field. Right field is a very hard position to play as opposed to the other outfield position. Center field, you can see the ball and just get good jumps, use your athleticism. Left field, I think it's an easier throw for a left fielder to any of the bases. Right field, though, you've got to be able to go to third and home. So you have to have a very good arm to be able to get it from right field all the way to third base. And then all the way deep right field to home. And Bautista certainly has shown that he can do that. Probably the prettiest throw I have seen him make this year was that throw he made in New York, when he caught the ball, ran into the wall, cut his hand, got the ball, and then threw a seed home to get the runner.
Buck with some weird spin off the leg of Bonderman in his rhymes, throws over, not in time. Buck's got himself an infield hit.
Jeremy Bonderman was not in good position to field this comebacker by John Buck. His follow through takes him as that back leg swings around, so he's not in position to get that comebacker. Goes through his legs, and the great speed of John Buck beats it out. Infield single.
He can do it all, John Buck. He's an all-star.
I have not written infield single many times behind Big John this year.
He'll take it. Lynn 1 for 2 in the game, 13 home runs to go along with 44 driven in. Blue Jays lead at 2-0 on Jose Bautista's leadoff homer here in the top of the 6th, the 27th of the year for Bautista. Quick trip to the mound for Alex Avila. All 5 home runs today, including the home runs from game number 1, have been hit to left field or to left center.
Action in the bullpen very quickly. Brad Thomas is the left-hander on your right, and Eddie Bonine, the right-hander, getting ready for Jim Leland's staff. Home run by Bautista, infield single, and he falls behind 3-0 very quickly to Adam Lind.
Good hitters count for Lind. Little out in front of it and fouls it out of play to the left side. The Blue Jays just continue to use the long ball. Gone 3 games without hitting one, but that all changed in the first game of this doubleheader. Molina, Wells, and Overbay all homered in that game. Hit up into the air. Will Rhymes looking at it, makes the catch, and John Buck retreats back.
You could win an all-new Honda CRZ and other great prizes when you vote for the Honda Play of the Month. Vote today at BlueJays.com.
John Buck on it first, and a beautiful night for baseball here at Comerica Park in Detroit. The second of 2 games here this afternoon. Jeremy Bonderman up against Jesse Litch, and it is Edwin Encarnacion at the plate with 2 down and the runner Buck on first. A 9-game hit streak for Encarnacion. Pat, how challenging is it for players now? You get into the latter stages of the second game, and how tough is it to focus and keep concentrated on the task at hand?
Well, it's been a long day of baseball, but if you're playing in this game, it's just another game. You're totally focused, and then when it's all said and done, and when you've gotten on that bus as you head to the airport and make your way back to Toronto, that's when you start to feel it. You just poof. But right now they are pumped up, looking for a W, looking for the sweep.
Bonderman's pace has slowed considerably here in the 6th inning.
Edwin Encarnacion, you saw that 6 doubles and gap-to-gap power. They actually play him the other way, thinking that his power is to right center field, but this whole trip he has really split the left fielder and the center fielder with balls.
Pitch high from Bonderman, and so 2-out walk to Encarnacion to keep the inning alive.
Jimmy Leland out very quickly, and that's going to be it for Jeremy Bonderman. After a home run, an infield single, and a walk, 2 outs, Leland is going to go out and get his starter, Bonderman. Can't give up any more here.
They'll receive a round of applause. The Tigers go to the pen. We'll introduce you to the new Tigers pitcher when we return. Jim Lang and Ivanka Osmak for Sportsnet Connected Major League Baseball highlights. A-Rod in his quest for 600 doesn't get it today. In fact, leaves the game in the 8th after being hit by a pitch. And the Hawk enters the Hall of Fame, along with former umpire Doug Harvey and the manager Whitey Herzog. John Miller, broadcaster, also inducted along with Bill Madden, a writer from New York City. So a big day in Cooperstown.
Brad Thomas is in the pitch for the Detroit Tigers. We saw him a couple of days ago when he pitched against the Blue Jays. 32 years old. This is just his second season in the major leagues. Spent the last couple pitching in the Korean Baseball League. Pitched for Australia during the World Baseball Classic in 2009.
Pretty safe to say this guy's been everywhere.
He certainly has. He participated for Australia in the 2000 Summer Olympics in Sydney, Australia. There are his numbers, just his 26th game of the season. Opponents hitting over 300 against him.
Dwayne Wise waits. Big swing. Jose Bautista led off the top of the 6th with his major league leading 27th home run of the year. That brings him square to 50 extra base hits on the season. That's amongst the major league leaders. Dwayne Wise slows the swing down just a little bit to make contact and keep the at bat alive. Talked a little bit how his approach has changed as he has gone on in years in his career, and that's why he was able to put that 0 for 4 behind him in game number 1 and continue to play well here with a bunt single in his first at bat in the 3rd inning.
I think that helps him also. Remember the big hit he got off of Mariano Rivera? Good veteran approach against Rivera to tie the game up against the Yankees and send it into extra innings. You have to have that ability to slow the ball game down, not get too excited about the situations that you are in.
That had to be one of the craziest games for one single player I've ever seen. Sunday, July 4th in New York. Dwayne Wise lost the ball in the sun. He had consecutive outfield assists on plays at the plate on consecutive pitches.
Consecutive pitches. Hit a 3-run home run in that game.
Halfway up the pole at right field. Gets a game tying hit off Mariano Rivera. Wow, what a day.
That's what your extra outfielders have to do when they're called upon.
Breaking ball from Thomas. He started walking to the Tigers dugout.
Put up good at bats. Do something to help your team win that day. And if there's an injury to a player, fill in and produce for him. 2 down, 3-2 count. The runners will be off on the pitch.
Buck and Encarnacion on the bases. Dwayne Wise at the plate. And it's Brad Thomas, the Tigers pitcher. Runners on the move. Wise reaches out, tries to get it into that hole. Thomas covering Wise, beats it out, and the run comes across to score. Good heads-up base running by John Buck, and it's 3-0 Blue Jays.
Well, he doesn't take anything for granted, does John Buck. With the great speed of Dwayne Wise, that's twice now that he has used it today. Buck is taking a hard turn at third base. Cabrera gets to the ball, takes a quick look at second, and then underhands it and flips it a little bit too high. John Buck not taking anything for granted, comes around third base running hard, giving a good effort, and that allows him to score very easily a big run. Watch Dwayne Wise come out of this box, and he's thinking base hit all the way. The throw was a lollipop. It went up in the air, and Thomas had to slow down for it. Wise wisely got underneath there with the infield single.
On cue, you want your fourth outfielder to make something happen. Dwayne Wise does it. The Tigers make a pitching change. We'll sort it out when we return. As John Buck comes across, thanks to Dwayne Wise, 3-0 Blue Jays. The Tigers have gone to the pen for Eddie Bonine to face John McDonald. McDonald right back up the box. Base hit into center field. Dwayne Wise with that good speed. He rounds. Excuse me, Encarnacion rounds, and now it's Wise in a rundown. He's tagged out by Kelly, the third baseman. So John McDonald able to bring in the fourth run for the Blue Jays. And that's where we stand. 4-0 Toronto through 5.5. RBI infield single. He starts to move on this John McDonald ball. Round second base really hard. Austin Jackson spots him. Picture perfect throw to the third baseman Don Kelly. And the inning ends in that fashion.
A couple of things about that. Austin Jackson was going away from third base, and I think Dwayne Wise was thinking, I'm going to go first to third. If he throws that ball home, there's going to be a play at the plate, and I can make it to third base. But then when he saw that he was throwing the ball to third base, I thought he did a smart thing, and he stopped and let the run score. Remember, it cost the Blue Jays a run earlier on this road trip. Not a bad idea to try to get to third base, make him cut the ball off for a run.
Now Jackson, after making a good play, sends it out to center field over the head of Dwayne Wise. This one will go all the way to the wall, and Jackson's got that great speed. Forget about it. It's another triple.
Coming into this game today, he was hitting .350 versus right-handed pitching. That hasn't been a problem all season long for Austin Jackson. Pears went into the gap again in right center field, and once it lands on the ground with that great speed, he's going to have a triple. He might have 20 triples this year if he keeps this up.
It's almost the exact same spot he hit that ball in the 8th inning of game number 1.
7 triples now. The only difference between those two plays, he slid on the one. That one was stand-up triple.
Blue Jays are down a couple of relievers. Brian Talbot begins to get loose. Kevin Gregg, Scott Downs, and Sean Camp all not available. Right back up the middle. Litch checks the runner Jackson and then makes a good athletic play to throw out Rhymes.
That's one thing about Jesse Litch. He will field his position very quick on his feet, very quick with his hands. He lets go of the ball, and he's in excellent position to field this comebacker. Backhands it, and it's an easy play at first base.
Nothing Toronto with one down in the bottom of the 6th inning. Johnny Damon with Austin Jackson on third. Picked up hit number 25-15 with that double in the 4th inning. That we've talked all series long about trying to get the hitters out, around, and in front of Cabrera. And he waits on deck. And the major league leader in runs batted in. Damon slashes this. Foul. It looks like he's got his energy back. He was scratched from the lineup last night with the flu. Looks like he's got that energy back now. You can see he's got that nervous two-step working in the batter's box.
Always moving around in that batter's box. Tough to strike out, too.
It's been a well-played series all the way around. Tigers took game 1 Thursday night 5-2. Blue Jays responded with some small ball in winning game 2 of the series 3-2 last night. They won game 1 of this doubleheader 5-3 and are ahead 4-0 as we play in the bottom of the 6th inning. Litch deals the 2-2. Damon reaches for it. Litch can't get to it. Encarnacion hustles in, and he can't corral it. So the run scores. Jackson comes across to plate the Tigers' first run, and Johnny Damon is on safely at first.
He's got a very good two-strike approach, does Johnny Damon. Let's try something down and away from him, and just taps it out in front of home plate. Once it got by Litch, really no chance for Encarnacion to get Damon. You see he's already by the bag. Even if he comes up with this short hop ball, I don't think he gets him at first base. So it'll go as an infield single for Damon and an RBI.
Now time for big Miguel Cabrera. 0 for 2 so far in the game. Struck out his last time up in the 4th. This one pelted to left center field. Dwayne Wise chases it down. Johnny Damon advances. And there are runners at the corner. So tough to stop Miguel Cabrera. Cito Gaston makes the walkout to Litch. Litch's afternoon is done. Brian Talbot will come in. We'll show you his numbers when we return.
How about the production? 3 home runs, 14 RBIs, a batting average over 400. What makes him so tough is his ability to hit any pitch anywhere to any part of the ballpark with power. 48 at bats, 21 hits. That last at bat against Jesse Litch was a prime example of that. His hands are so quick. If you try and throw the ball down and in, and he just rifles a ball into left center field. We've seen him hit a ball off the top of the wall in the right field. We've seen him double down the left field line, the left center field. He has that ability with power to hit the ball all over the place.
So Cito Gaston goes to the pen for Brian Talbot.
This is a very important next couple of innings for the Blue Jays here with their bullpen down 3 pitchers, so Brian Talbot has to step up. He has pitched in 16 games, including 5 starts for the Blue Jays. In this situation, runners on first and third and just 1 out. The left-hander comes in to face a left-handed hitter who has had great success versus lefties this year.
But so too has Talbot. Lefty's hitting just 131 off him this year. Bosch, first pitch swinging. Sends it to center field. That'll be enough to bring Damon home. So Bosch gets the job done and will trade it out for a run.
You mentioned at the start of this game all the left-handers that Jim Leyland has put into a starting rotation, a starting lineup tonight. That's why I think Brian Talbot over the next couple of innings is very important here against these lefties. Bosch and Larich, Kelly, Avila, Damon. They need 2, maybe 3 innings from him here tonight.
Yeah, the lefty thing's not lasting very long. Jim Leyland will go to the bench for Ryan Rayburn, who comes in to hit for Larich.
That's okay. Bring those guys in.
Burn the bench down.
Burn the bench. And then that sets it up for Cito Gaston later in the game.
You only get so many opportunities, especially when you have a depleted lineup. So Jim Leyland pulling out all the stops here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Pitch down from Talbot. Is still on at first base, and the Blue Jays lead at 4-2. A 3-run top half of the inning, including Jose Bautista's 27th home run of the year, put the Jays out on top 4-0. Jesse Litch came out and started the bottom half of the 6th. Immediately gave up a leadoff triple to Austin Jackson. Damon brought him in. Cabrera kept the inning alive, and then Bosch with a sac fly. Now this one hit into the air to right field. Jose Bautista camped under it, and Talbot gets out of it. But the Tigers strike twice and cut the lead in half.
The 2 earned runs that scored while he was out there. Jeremy Bonderman, 5 2/3, 8 hits. Did not have a 1-2-3 inning. Stranded 5 runners through the 6 innings. Pitching in and out of trouble all night long. So he is gone. The bullpens will decide this one.
4-2 Toronto, top of the 7th inning. In the top of the order for the Blue Jays, Fred Lewis back in the lineup for the first time since Wednesday. And he tripled in his last at bat after a couple of strikeouts. Lewis hits this ball hard to center field. He won't fool Austin Jackson this time.
Bodine, Sam, has pitched in a couple of different forms for the Tigers over the years. He's made 9 starts for them. But this year, everything out of the bullpen, and his numbers are pretty good. The long man for Jim Leland's staff. This is our first look at him in this 4-game series.
Not necessarily in a long man role here, but the roles change when you get into this doubleheader scenario. You know, they very much can be same for Talbot, who came in. He's considered a long guy out of the Jays pen, but pitching more in a middle relief role, if you will, because both bullpens have been depleted somewhat.
And Cito Gaston announcing before tonight's game that Kevin Gregg and Sean Camp, Scott Downs are unavailable for the second game. They want to give Sean Camp a couple of days to catch his breath, if you will. Downs did an outstanding job in game number 1.
Came in to close out the 8th inning with a couple of strikeouts. He issued a walk and then consecutive strikeouts, one of Sizemore and one of Larish, to get out of that bases loaded jam. And didn't that set up perfectly for the Blue Jays when Lyle Overbay smacked his 11th home run of the year in the 9th off of their closer, Jose Valverde. And that was the difference in game number 1 here this afternoon. Overbay, the cleanup hitter in this game. Escobar is punched out.
Bonine throws a knuckleball. That might have been it right there. Gives up on it.
Good tumbling action on that pitch from Bonine. Jose Bautista back at the dish. A couple of hits in this game, including home run number 27. Phil Koku has been so tough for the Tigers. Starts to get loose. Jim Leland looking ahead to Overbay. Lind and a little further down the line, Dwayne Wise.
That's the thing about Jose, doesn't he? He doesn't get cheated.
Never, ever.
He's got great discipline and a very good eye at the plate. Got 56 base on balls this year, but when he gets his pitch and he likes it, no half-hearted swings.
The way he swings, Pat, is that conducive to long-term success?
I think so, as long as he gets himself ready. That's what he talks about. Just get myself ready. When you talk about the way he swings, how aggressive he is, I think that's fine. He has always said that when he goes into slumps, he's just not getting ready. He's not getting his front foot down and in a good hitting position. When he does that, he is plenty quick enough inside.
The swing is a lot more violent than, let's say, a Miguel Cabrera, but the setup is somewhat similar in that Cabrera gets that front foot out there early and then trusts his hands to guide the ball thereafter. But once that front foot is out there and Bautista commits to the swing, he's swinging very violently at it.
The ball jumps off of his bat, too.
Hit to Brennan Bosch in right field. And the inning is over. So the Blue Jays go quietly in the top of the 7th, but continue to cling to a 2-run lead. That hot 31-22 start. And then it's been a little up and down. Went 10-21 in the next 31 games, but lately have started playing well once again. 9-5 in the lead in this game.
Right around interleague play. That 10-21 record. That's happened the last couple of years against the Blue Jays. They have not had success in interleague play. Pitching went a little south. Hitting went a little south also. But now, since right around the All-Star break, they've been playing much better fundamental baseball. Getting good pitching, not getting themselves out when they're at the plate, playing good defense. That's one thing that they have done really well this whole season. Play good defense. If you don't beat yourself, you've got a chance every night.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Bottom of the 7th inning at Comerica Park in Detroit. And gone to the bench again is Jim Leland for Scott Sizemore. A pinch hit for third baseman John Kelly. This pitch from Talent is up. All that success for Talent against left-handed hitters, and Jim Leland has decided to combat that. Ended the 6th inning with pinch hitter Ryan Rayburn flying out to right field. And he goes to the bench again for Sizemore to kick off things in the bottom of the 7th.
I was talking to Bruce Walton in between ball games tonight, and I asked him, okay, with the 3 closers or the 3 pitchers out for the second game, who closes? He said, I'm not sure. Not real sure. Jason Frazier threw an inning and a third in yesterday's game. So I said, well, that makes Talent, Jansen, and Percy very important people in this game. And he said, you're absolutely right. They certainly are. They have to pitch big innings if this is a close game. And that's why I think Talent here is very important. He can go some distance. He can go 2 or 3 innings if they need him to. And then you've got Percy and Jansen and Frazier to possibly close it out if they need them.
Sizemore golfs this ball to center field. Dwayne Wise running hard back towards the track and chases it down.
Doing a little bit of everything to help his ball club win a ball game. That is Dwayne Wise. He was shading Sizemore to right field. But it's 420 feet to center field, so lots of room for Dwayne Wise to run this one down right in front of the wall.
A little ice cream. A little ice cream cone there for D. Wise. Vila steps in. He's hit into a double play and struck out in his 2 plate appearances of this game. Now hitting .208 on the season. But he does show some pop in that bat. This one, however, is popped up. Escobar back. And he waves off Fred Lewis for the 2nd out of the inning. Congratulations to the Hall of Famers inducted in Cooperstown today. Andre Dawson, Whitey Herzog, Harvey, the umpire, so just the 9th umpire to go in.
Hey, isn't it great that Andre Dawson is going in as an Expo?
Yes, fantastic.
I know he had some great seasons with the Chicago Cubs. I believe he played 6 seasons there and won an MVP award, but his first 11 years in the big leagues were with the Expos. And I think that's where he made his name.
Yeah, and he fought that a little bit. I think there were some concerns maybe about some post Hall of Fame induction, maybe marketing opportunities or whatnot. But Dawson said he wanted to go in as a Cub, and the Hall of Fame selection committee overturned him. Overturned that decision, or reversed the decision, if you will. And to see him go in as an Expo is a nice feather in the cap for all the Montreal Expos fans out there.
Yeah. NL Rookie of the Year in 1977 when he was with the Expos. 8-time All-Star, 8 Golden Gloves, NL MVP. He won that with the Cubs. First year that he was there in 1987. Helped the Expos into the playoffs in 1981.
Yeah, Expos fans don't want to talk about that too much. Blue Monday.
Yeah.
Worth continues to keep the at-bat alive. 9th try for the Hawk for him to get in. And I think it's great that umpires are included. Doug Harvey umpired almost 5,000 games from 1962 to 1992. The 9th umpire to go in. And then a couple of media members as well. John Miller wins the Frick Award and goes into the hall. Bill Madden, a writer for the New York Times, I believe. And you can't have this conversation without mentioning Tom Cheek.
Good point.
4,306 consecutive games. Worth pops this ball out to the right side and keeps it alive. And when that comes around again, you have to throw the reminders out there to Blue Jays fans and to baseball fans right across the country to make sure you throw in your votes for Tom Cheek. He is would be a deserved inductee, no question. Take nothing away from this great class.
No, we're not. And I think eventually he will, because of his great contribution to the Blue Jays.
Worth on the ground, Escobar in the backhand. Good slick throw over to first. And the inning is complete through 7. It's the Blue Jays with a 4-2 lead. Top of the 8th inning here in Detroit. It's the Blue Jays with a 4-2 lead over the Detroit Tigers. Phil Coke comes in out of the pen for Jim Leland.
How about this for a trade for the Detroit Tigers? They send Curtis Granderson to New York. They get Ian Kennedy, Austin Jackson, and this guy, Phil Coke, who was a starter in the farm system for the New York Yankees, but is now a lefty specialist for Jim Leland and the Detroit Tigers. Coke throws very hard. He's got a very good slider. There are his numbers in the game. New third baseman for the Tigers, Sizemore, who came in to pinch hit for Don Kelly. Last inning, stays in the game and will remain at third base.
Really creative deal for Dave Dombrowski. Three-teamer, and Max Scherzer ends up coming over there.
Well, they spun Ian Kennedy and Edwin Jackson out to Arizona, and they got Max Scherzer and Daniel Schlereth, another good young left-hander that's now in the minor leagues. Dave Dombrowski knows a little bit about pitching.
Schlereth has had some time here in the big leagues already this year, but you talk about getting 3 guys that are making significant contributions. Scherzer pitched well his last start out. He's been pretty good, although a little bit inconsistent. And you get Coke in the deal, and of course Austin Jackson. And isn't that funny how those 3-team deals work? When we spoke to Alex Anthopoulos the other day, he said, you know, sometimes you really need to get that third team involved in order to get a deal done, because oftentimes the 2-team thing doesn't work, where the pieces don't exactly fit.
Yeah, everybody has to win out when you have a trade going on.
Overbay into center field in front of Jackson. Picks up his first hit of the game.
Yeah, and it might take another team to find that other piece to make it work. Well, it certainly has worked for Detroit. Lyle Overbay bangs the ball into center field. We've seen the great speed of Jackson out there. Was fooled earlier today on a ball off the bat of Fred Lewis. This time plays it on a bounce for a leadoff single.
Buck stepped out and had a pretty good long look at Brian Butterfield, the third base coach. A situation where the Blue Jays are up by 2 here in the top of the 8th. Coke deals, and Buck swinging hard through that first pitch. So, Pat, you're John Buck. You've got a lot of power. You've had a career year to this point. What are you thinking up there with that runner on first?
I'm thinking about putting one into the stands in fair territory. I mean, that's what John Buck does. He's so strong, and he has the ability to hit the ball out of any part of this ballpark. He is not thinking about massaging a ball to the right side or bunting or hitting and running. He is thinking about trying to score that runner from first base.
Does that approach change 0-2?
Certainly.
Get on the ground off the glove of Rhymes and into center field, and pulling up at second is Overbay.
With an 0-2 count, you are thinking about staying on the ball just a little bit more. Coke has been very good over his last 21 outings. His ERA is 0.54, so you know he's got good stuff. With 2 strikes, he shortens up, tries to bang it right back through the middle, and he's rewarded with a base hit.
So you swing for the fences early in the count, and then you just try and get on base late in the count.
Not a bad plan.
It worked out great for Buck, and now there are 2 aboard for Adam Lind. With the Blue Jays' depleted bullpen, they would love a couple of add-on runs here and get a little breathing room. You're in a good spot to do so. First 2 hitters of this 8th inning have reached.
They have had runners on base all afternoon. Every inning except last inning, when Bonine had a 1-2-3 7th inning. 12 base hits for the Blue Jays and 1 base on ball, so they've had 13 base runners, and they've only been able to score 4 of them.
Lind out of play. Lind doubled in the 7th inning of game 1. Up until that point, he was 0 for 7 in the series. And he's got a single here in game 2. 1 for 3 on the second game of this doubleheader for Adam Lind. And looking to add on here. Overbay's at second, Buck's at first. Lind swinging away.
Coke was not real happy with that 0-2 pitch. He gave him something to swing at and got away with a mistake.
So they'll try that 0-2 thing again. Good long look at Overbay at second. This one in the dirt.
That's a better pitch right there, 0-2. He made 77 starts while he was a minor leaguer for the New York Yankees. So he's built up his arm strength, and I think that has helped him over the last couple of years when they made him a reliever. He has made the 3rd most appearances over the last couple of seasons. 118 games he's pitched in the last 2 seasons.
That's a lot of work. And Lynn looks at that breaking ball low and away. Even a count of 2-2. Nobody out here in the top of the 8th inning. The Blue Jays threatening while already leading 4-2. Lyle Overbay singled to center, and then John Buck followed that up with a hard shot up the middle off the glove of second baseman Will Rhymes. And that's where we stand. 2-2 pitch. Lind on the ground to the right side. Cabrera spins, goes to the shortstop Worth. Phil Koch covering at first. And the rare 3-6-1 double play is completed.
To perfection by the Detroit Tigers. Worth has very good hands for a shortstop. Good transfer. Cabrera makes it all happen by, first of all, giving him a good feed to the outside part of the bag. Let that shortstop do the rest of the work. Over to Koch. Just like that, 2 outs.
Overbay advanced to third on the double play. And it's Edwin Encarnacion. Koch delivers the strike to start off the at-bat. Encarnacion has scored a couple of runs in this game. 1 for 2, a walk. Pitches away. Koch has thrown just 1 wild pitch this year, so that's probably not in the plans. Overbay paying attention there. Third base. This one's popped up to the right side. Cabrera in foul territory makes the catch. So it looked like a promising start to the inning, but the Blue Jays were unable to cash in, yet they still lead it. Commentator clothing provided in part by Z Zenya. Statistical information provided by StatSync. And music for our broadcasts provided by Universal Canada. To the top of the order in the bottom of the 8th inning. The Tigers trail at 4-2. Jackson, Rhymes, and Damon expected, although Ramon Santiago has made his way out onto the on-deck circle. Jackson, 3 hits in game 1, was a home run short of the cycle. 1 for 3 in this game. And that was a triple.
8 hits he has in this 4-game series. I believe all 8 of them have been to center field or right field. So Dwayne Wise, the center fielder, really shading him that way now.
Left side of the box. with that triple in the 6th, now as a 10-game hit streak.
He has hit in his last 22 of 24 games. That's consistency. This one's going to hurt. Looks like it went right off of his ankle.
Ouch. And the way things have gone for the Tigers, they cringe anytime they see anything like that. Jay's pen continues to work. Fraser on the left, Percy on the right. Meanwhile, it's Brian Talent. Talent inside to Jackson.
Not a bad idea right there. Show him that inside. He has worn out the right side of the infield. So try and jam him.
There's that inside out swing. Fouled off. So Pat, with Brian Talent extending himself a little here, it adds more credence to the theory that Brad Mills is likely to start for the Blue Jays on Wednesday. He was pulled from a start in Las Vegas tonight. Some speculation that Talent may get the start, but now it looks like it may be Mills. Hit on one hop past the diving John McDonald into center field, and this guy just keeps swinging away.
Blue Jays are going to be happy to get away from Detroit and Austin Jackson. He has simply worn him out this whole series. Every ball to the right side, they actually play him over that way, but he still has enough. That ball is up. He can handle the ball up a lot easier than a ball that's down, and rips it by McDonald for another hit.
We've seen a little of the pop in his bat with triples in consecutive games here. Pat, as you get older, is that something that Jackson will learn to do? Pull that ball and maybe unleash some of the power he has?
I think so. I think he's going to be a player that can hit 20 home runs as soon as he grows a little bit more, understands the league a little bit more.
Jim Whelan has gone to the bench once again as Jackson is on at first for Ramon Santiago. Pinch hitting for Will Rhymes in the bottom of the 8th inning. Santiago pops it up. John Buck gives chase, and this one in the vomitory behind home plate, and a one-hopper into the stands.
Didn't think he had a shot at it. Bounced down there, came right back to him. Santiago hitting about 400 against the Blue Jays this year. His job right now, just figure out a way to get on base.
Try and clog him up for Cabrera. Damon's on deck. Cabrera waiting in the wings. Santiago's had some success in this role. 4 for 10 as a pinch hitter. Talent inside, and Santiago plays like it hit him and continues on to first base.
Well, you have to battle when you have 2 strikes. And again, just trying to figure out a way to get on base. So you hang in there a little bit longer, you take it off the toe and move in down to first base. Clearly hit him on the back foot.
And then you make sure you're limp, just in case they didn't see it. A tough predicament now for Brian Talent.
Johnny Damon has had very good numbers against Brian Talent in his career. Today he's having a good day. Single, a double, an RBI, and a run. He won't be bunting here. Not with Cabrera on deck. That's just like saying we're not going to let you hit.
Well, Tigers fans realize it. They're starting to make some noise here at Comerica. The home team trailing by 2, but a good opportunity here in the bottom of the 8th.
There are the numbers for Johnny Damon in his career. 8 for 23, a home run included in one of those hits.
Tries to keep it out of Damon's sweet spot, working away to the left-handed hitting Damon. A scary proposition lies ahead for Bruce Walton and Cito Gaston. Santiago's on at first. Jackson is at second. None out here in the bottom of the 8th inning with Johnny Damon facing Brian Talent. Swing and a miss. Talent's numbers very good against left-handers coming into this game, but there's a bit of an anomaly here. Damon has had great success against Talent. Yank foul just by that first base bag.
He has that ability from an open stance to just drop the head of the bat on those inside pitches and yank them right by the bag. He's a very clutch player too, Johnny Damon. Great numbers with runners in scoring position his whole career. Great numbers, bases loaded. Just seems to be able to turn it up a notch when he needs to.
Hit in the air towards the middle of the infield. John McDonald waving everybody off, and now Escobar waves him off and takes it. Big out for Brian Talent.
Certainly was. You can see how excited he is as he gets a hitter who has had great success against him to pop it up, and the runners can't advance. Cito Gaston is out of the dugout, and he has already made the call to the bullpen.
Burr saw it coming a mile away. Once the out was made, didn't even leave the on-deck circle. Well, Brian Talent's afternoon is done. Blue Jays going to the pen. It'll be Jason Fraser to face Miguel Cabrera when we return.
The big first baseman for the Detroit Tigers. He's hit the ball off the top of the wall in right field. He's pulled the ball down the left field line. He's smoked balls to center field and left center field. He's been an RBI machine, and he's in an RBI situation here.
So Cito Gaston obviously viewing this as a closing situation as Jason Fraser comes in. Cabrera 7 for 14 in the series.
There's Jason Frazier's numbers. He pitched an inning and a third in yesterday's game. Gave up just a scratch hit to who else? Austin Jackson. He retired 4 of the 5 batters that he faced. Good numbers all the way around for him. He has faced Cabrera in the past. Miguel Cabrera 2 for 5 against Frazier. So a small sampling.
Frazier and his wife Laura celebrating the birth of their first child, Jackson, a son born on Friday. Ball hit over the Tigers dugout, so Frazier gets ahead early.
Remember the at-bat that he had against Jesse Litch back in the 4th inning when Litch buzzed him with a fastball up and in. Got him thinking about inside and then struck him out with a breaking ball away. Jason Frazier does the same thing here. First pitch in to establish fastball in against Cabrera.
Frazier checks the signs. Jackson looking in. He's on at second base. Santiago's on at first. There's one down here in the bottom of the 8th. Cabrera sprays it foul to the right side. Pat, the theme of this series in pitching to Cabrera, you mentioned one, pitching in, the other, don't repeat the same pitch to this guy.
You start doing that and he'll figure out your patterns and hurt you, which he has done this whole series. 7 for 14. You see the production, the RBIs. He can reach a lot of pitches too. Some hitters have holes, either in, away, up, down, whatever. Doesn't look like he has a lot of holes.
Well, there he goes. He reaches out for that one. Austin Jackson will score easily. Jose Bautista will pick up the ball. Ramon Santiago being held up at third. And so Cabrera, just another double.
Do you see why he is so tough? He has that ability to go the other way. He can turn on pitches. He's got power from foul line to foul line. Watch how he stays back and just hits this ball the other way. A 2-strike approach almost. And rips it into the corner for another RBI. That's why he is leading the league in RBIs.
He had a couple of hits against Sean Markham last night that Markham honestly felt that they were such good pitches that maybe any other hitter in the league they would have been out on. Not Cabrera. So they will intentionally walk Brennan Bosch to load the bases. The fans don't like that very much, but that's the smart tactical move here.
Well, you have to set up the double play with the right-hander. When Cito Gaston went to the left-hander, Brian Talent, Jim Leland countered with all his right-handers off the bench, so he has nobody to go to now who swings left-handed. That plays into Jason Frazier. With Rayburn now a right-hander and Sizemore a right-hander. A chance to get out of this inning with a ground ball.
Bosch will accept gracefully the intentional walk. And the bases are loaded for Ryan Rayburn.
This is looking like the 8th inning in game number 1. Bases loaded. Just one out. Scott Downs strikes out Sizemore and strikes out Larish to get out of it. Looks like they're going to have to do the same thing here if they're going to win game 2.
Rayburn flying out to right field in his first plate appearance of the game. That was to end the 6th. Much more critical situation here, and Frazier starts him off with the ball. Rayburn has 2 career grand slams, but just 2 for 11 with the bases loaded. Can't check a swing there, and the count is even. .291 with 16 home runs last year for the Tigers. Hasn't had quite the same success here in 2010. Big cut there from Rayburn.
got to win those close games. The Jays have had their trouble in one-run games. A missed opportunity here, not making a pitch there, not making a play. 6 games under 500 in one-run games.
Maybe the reliance of on the home run as well factors in there. The inability, at least earlier in the year, to manufacture runs. We saw a little bit of that last night.
And that cost him a few games early. Manufacturing runs. Everybody's got to be on the same page here on the infield if the ball's hit to you. Where are you going with the ball?
Fraser to Rayburn, hit in the air. Dwayne Wise going back. Wise won't get to it. Santiago scores. Cabrera follows him in. And running hard and trying to score is Brennan Bosch, and he does. A bases clearing double for Ryan Rayburn, and the Tigers have taken the lead.
What a big hit for the Detroit Tigers. They entered this inning down by a couple of runs. A leadoff single by Jackson. A hit by a pitch sets up the inning for this. Breaking ball down and away from Rayburn. He gets a hold of it. You mentioned the power that he had in the last couple of years. Powers it into the gap in left center field and clears the bases.
A 6-4 lead now for the Tigers. Rayburn's 11th double clears the bases. 4-run inning in the works. Calls being made to the bullpen by the Blue Jays. And it's Scott Sizemore now 0 for 1 in the game. Still just 1 out in the inning. Rick Langford, David Kersey, Alex Andriopoulos all awaiting the call from Cito Gaston. And trying to steal third. Throw down, and out at third is Rayburn. And a right-handed hitter up, and they tried to take advantage of that, but a good, strong throw from Buck to Encarnacion.
So he clears himself at the plate. Rayburn trying to catch the Blue Jays on their heels. No chance for John Buck as he throws him out. The throw was well ahead of him. And the tag applied by Encarnacion for the second out.
2 to Sizemore, swing and a miss. Strike 3. The inning comes to a close, but not before the Tigers put up a 4 spot and now take a 2-run lead from Valverde. Jose Valverde try and shut things down here in the top of the 9th inning.
This is a save situation. Blue Jays saw him in the first game, and he actually picked up the loss in that game after giving up the 2-run home run to Lyle Overbay. But he comes into this game and converted each of his last 20 saves. That's the 7th longest such single season streak in franchise history for the Detroit Tigers. Valverde comes right after you with a fastball and a good splitter. He has held opponents scoreless in 30 of his 43 innings this year. First man he faces is Dwayne Wise, who can certainly get something started here in the 9th inning.
Ramon Santiago pinch hit in the bottom of the 8th and remains in the game and plays second base. 6-4 Detroit over Toronto. A 4-run bottom of the 8th has the Tigers ahead. First pitch to Wise is a strike. Vernon Wells has come out onto the on-deck circle. Did not start this game. Wise, big swing. This ball has lift, this ball has length, and this ball is left. Dwayne Wise, big fly to right field. His 3rd of the year, and the Blue Jays draw to within 1.
Don't go away. Not when you can hit home runs the way the Blue Jays can hit homers. It looked like a splitter after a fastball for strike 1. Avila wants it down, and it's over the heart of the plate and turned on by Dwayne Wise.
A little reminiscent of that home run he hit on Sunday, July 4th. What a shot. So now Vernon Wells pinch hits for John McDonald. First pitch swinging, center field. Austin Jackson is there. Isn't that funny? Coming into today, Valverde has given up 1 home run.
One home run all season long. He's faced the Blue Jays in 2 innings, and he's given up 2.
Red Lewis with a chance as they move it over to the top of the order now. First pitch strike to Lewis. Lewis 1 for 4 in the game. Blue Jays not going down without a fight. Fouled off by Lewis. What a shot by Dwayne Wise. Jim Leland looking on anxiously. Tigers fans clapping with some nervous appreciation of Valverde. And punched out with the appeal to third is Lewis.
Valverde is going to go upstairs looking for the strikeout. You be the judge. Does he go around? Yes, says Manny Gonzalez, the third base umpire.
And they are on their feet at Comerica Park. They'll have to deal with Yunel Escobar. Escobar extended his hit streak to 8 games with an infield single in the first. He is 0 for 3 since, and now he is behind 0-1.
They have faced each other while they were playing in the National League. Valverde with Houston and Arizona. But Escobar only has 3 career bats against him.
Big swing from Escobar, who tried to tie it. Now he's in a big hole.
This is where Escobar has been tough from what we have seen since he has come over here. Spreads out, shortens everything up.
Swing and fouled off. A couple of different options Valverde has. Tigers fans remain on their feet. Valverde comes to the set. Pitches high to Escobar.
97th with that fastball.
Cedar Gaston looking on as the Blue Jays trying to close out this road trip in positive fashion, but they need at least one to tie it. Pitch inside to Escobar. And now the deuces are wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs.
He looks anxious, Jim Leland. He doesn't want to see Jose Bautista come up as the potential winning run with his home run back.
He already got 1 today, does Bautista. But Escobar would have to reach first, and that opportunity will not be provided. Valverde strikes out Escobar. And the Blue Jays split this doubleheader. A 4-run, 8-inning spells disaster for the Blue Jays. They drop the second of 2 games here today, 6-5.
The 8th inning was key for both teams in both games. Scott Downs comes up with a big strikeout with the bases loaded in the first game to really save the game for the Blue Jays in game number 1. In game number 2, Ryan Rayburn comes through with a big bases loaded clearing double, the game-winning hit also in the 8th inning for the Tigers.
Once again, the final here today, 6-5. The Blue Jays split a doubleheader with the Tigers. For Pat Tabler.